Assalamualaikum. This is Web Design and Development Lecture 5, and in this lecture we are going to talk about responsive web design. Responsive design is very necessary to implement in the web pages. And here are the contents of this lecture. In this lecture we are going to talk about the basics of responsive design, how a responsive design works and how it can be created to load it into a multiple devices. It deals with the content flexibility, how your content should be flexible enough to be loaded in multiple devices, and you can implement or you can use a browser to test it into a number of other browsers or requesting devices. And finally, we will discuss about the media queries, which are an important element of responsive design. Without the media queries, it would have been very difficult to implement the responsive design to the level at which it is currently being implemented. So if you look at the history of web design and development, the web is a really new field, and it was developed in 1991 by Tim Berners-Lee when he published his first website. So the website was mostly contained textual information, and with some progress, they introduced the tables, and which were very helpful to web designer to create website layouts. But those tables were not very effective, and in 1996 Microsoft released its first version of competitive browsers, the famous Internet Explorer, which had its own features for designing layouts and its own tags for creating layouts, such as Debian tags and other tabular tags and heading tags. However, the progress was very slow in the development of responsive web design, and between 2000 and 2005, all the top websites such as Apple's, Microsoft's, eBay's, and other popular websites were using the table-based layout, and they did not have the responsive uh, functionality to their end. First of all, let's define what a responsive website is. A responsive website is one that adapts to the screen size. That means the size of requesting device where the website is being served. So when the page is resizes, the layout adjusts according to the fit of the screen. For example, if you look at this image, the same website it is loaded in a personal computer, in a laptop, in a tablet, and in a number of smartphones. So your website must be responsive enough to be loaded in all the devices simultaneously uh, by adjusting its layout and the content according to the device requirement. For example, if you look at the big screen, the website has a broader view of image, and the logo and the other icons such as navigation is listed in detail. If you move to the tablet view, the icons and the logos is very small and concentrated in the center. The navigation is also compacted, and the image size is reduced uh, with using two column format. However, it was one column format here. And if you move to the mobile screen, you can see that all the logos and images on the top are hidden out. The navigation pane is also hidden, and you can see some text and a small graphic with one column layout that is presented in two of our devices. So responsive website design demands you to design your website and its layout in a way that it adjusts according to the fit of the screen, the size of the screen. So you should be very much be up to date that new devices and new screens are being developed every day. So and each of these devices may be able to handle variation in size, functionality, and even color. So it is very difficult for you to design a website for each kind of device, that is for, or in other words, for each kind of screen size. So some devices are in landscape and while the others are in portrait. So you have to design your website in a way that must be able to cater these kinds of needs. So this image represents different devices with varying screen size. If you look at from, for example, iPhone 4 to another iPhone 5, 5C, and other related uh, devices, this is actually quite old image and there are no new models presented here. But if you look at the dimensions, they can vary from one phone to another. Another thing to consider is the PPI, that means the pixels per inch. So you have to design your website in a way that caters the need of screen size and the resolution or pixel per inch uh, described for each device. So first requirement is being flexible. In responsive web design, the illustration will crop off while changing the view from the desktop to smart view. For example, if you have a large image that will be cropped off from one side or another. So you have to design your image in a such a way that if the image is cropped to a smaller screen size, your main information must be visible. For example, in this image, if you are familiar with uh, the Baker Street Inquirer, the Sherlock Holmes website is presented here. You can see the image of Sherlock Holmes is depicted in the small screen. However, the Dr. Watson is cut out from the small screen. The main thing was the title of the website, which was the Baker Street Inquirer. However, it actually modified or adapted itself to the small screen. And in the same case, the lower image is also cut down to a small portion. So you have to design your illustration in a way that if they are cropped, the main information is visible from the small screen. Similarly, the name, the heading, and the position changes automatically decrease and resize as needed for the good display. For example, in the second image, you can see same heading is displayed in three different screen sizes, and responsiveness of your website allows it to transform from one screen to another and to the third one. So the heading is resized according to the screen size, the images are resized according to the screen size, and the text layout columns, for example, you can see here is two column layout. The same is applied to the tab layout. However, in the mobile layout, the column is uh, divided into a single layout. Similarly, you can see the navigation here, which is horizontal. When you move to the mobile device, your navigation is formed a vertical layout. So another important consideration is navigation and grids. How a website is structured, that defines your navigation of the your website or web application, and how your information is spread through website is defined by the grids of your web application or layouts of your web application. And how critical is the content of a particular purpose of the website or some consideration while designing the navigational elements for a responsive website. Similarly, a fluid grid is a way of defining layout in terms of proportions. So you can define a grid should take the 50% of your screen, or it should take the two column layout, or it should adjust the columns as per the size of the screen. For example, if the size of the screen decreases from a desktop to a tab, you can see the horizontal fluid is converted into a two column layout, and the text boxes are uh, formed in a vertical layout. Similarly, if you translate from here to mobile, you can see the two column layout is transformed to the one column layout. So when the dimensions of screens are shrunk, the layout of all element will reduce in the proportion. That is the highlight of your basic responsive website. Additionally, you must have flexible images and videos. When any device is requesting for a website, then the images get flexible for that device. So you can apply different kind of images to the desktop version of your application, and you can apply the different other kind of images to your mobile kind of application. So this can be very easy to resolve using the media queries. With the help of media queries, you can also add flexible image sizes and embed flexible video display on your responsive website. Which media queries are very helpful for you to design your website in the responsive manner. We will discuss about the media queries in the later slide. Media queries are you can say are the design elements that help you to design for different screen sizes depending upon the maximum width of the screen. Browser selection is another important criteria from where you test your application or you apply the browser related transformation or transitions. So most of the common browsers are Google Chrome, or Firefox, Safari, or uh, you can say Opera. For doing so, we have to go to the developer options of in the Google Chrome, and then go to the setting and override tab, and then click on the show emulation so that you can test your website in number of devices and in number of browser emulations. Then you can go to any website, automatically the page gets emulated to the selected device screen. Simply you can click on your web page and view its uh, right click on the web page and go to the inspect element option, and then you can select the small box at the top which shows you the device emulation, and you can test your website in any of the desired screen. That will help you to visualize that how your web content will be displayed in each of the device. So there is a simple conversation here between the browsers. So browsers have three mottos. The number one is they want to be the uh, selected choice of user. For example, every browser wants most of the customer base around the world, and every browser wants to have a faster performance, and everyone for every one of the browsers wants to achieve it by now. However, you can exclude the our famous Microsoft version of browsers such as Internet Explorer or Edge. For example, here is a funny conversation between the browsers. The Google Chrome asked, "What are we?" and the Internet Explorer explained it in a few hours. So here is an illustration of emulation that you can view in your browser. For example, this image shows that you can select a variety of devices such as Samsung Galaxy Tab and etc. There is a list of new devices when you update the Chrome with the latest version, and you can test your application with to a range variety of devices. So that leads us to the final title of our lecture, media queries. So without the help of media queries, responsive website would not have been where they are currently. With CSS3 media queries, you can conditionally apply CSS styles depending on the screen size. The media queries are applied to the CSS code and load the specific style of elements according to the width of the screen. For example, here is a typical example of a media query. This media query is applied to only screen, and it is applied to the minimum width of the device that has 320 pixel and the maximum width of the file 480 pixel. And all the styles you define here will be applied to the all the devices that have the maximum and minimum width between these two values. Similarly, another device such as which can be that is for smartphones, you can another use another media query for screen, and it have the minimum width of 321 px. That means it has no maximum width. So you any device with this minimum this width can use these styles applied here. Similarly, you can apply these media queries to other kind of screens, such as when you want to print your web page, how should it look like. So you can provide another query that deals with the print version of your media. So when you design the media queries, you can also provide different kind of images and videos that can be used with specific to the screen size specified in the media query. For example, if you are specifying a media query for screen sizes for smartphones, you can specify smaller size of images and videos for smartphones. On the other hand, when you are using for a large screen such as personal computers, you can use the high dimension images, so they can load in the with the high quality of the graphics. So responsive design is often termed as RESS. So RESS is a responsive website with a server-side detection built in. That means whenever a client or a device requests the server will detect what kind of device is requesting, and the request is coming from which kind of device, and the deliver an appropriate experience to the device. That means responsive design such as style sheets for desktop, tablets and mobiles are transferred to the requesting device, and the server code itself translates and loads only content the device being served. There are certain benefits, and there are some cons of developing responsive web design. However, the benefits outweighs the cons. The number one benefit, it will provide the better user experience. This is actually the most imperative benefit of your responsive web design. In current environment, you cannot say your application will not exist in the context of other competitors if your website is not responsive to the user devices, and it does not provide the better user experience. So you have to include the items in your design that will improve the user experience, not only the usability. So there are certain methods to improve the user experience, such as inclusion of events and devices, dimensions and layouts in such a way that user is very happy to use it. On the development side, it will provide you a single site management. That means if you are able to use responsive design, you only have to manage one web site that will be able to load on multiple devices. However, if you do not develop the responsive website, you have to cater the need of multiple screens such as smartphones and display screens for personal computers differently. It will also provide you a single view analysis. For example, if you want to change anything in your web page and you test it in the responsive web design using any one of device, you will feel confident that it will run smoothly in any other devices. Depending upon that, it will adapt to that screen. So easy viewing of socially shared website, and any website that you have published on the web, you will have an easy viewing of such websites, and it will be pleasing to the eyes. And it will also help you to keep on the connected to the hottest trends, and you will be learning very much about the latest trends in the development of responsive website by incorporating these trends in your web applications. However, there are some costs at every benefit. For example, the number one disadvantage is you have to redesign your website. For example, if you have already developed a website that is working very well, or with that is been working for a long time, you have to redesign to cater the needs of better user experience using a responsive website. And it also takes time at the start. It is not very easy to develop media queries that work effectively on range of web requesting devices. So it will take some amount of time at the start to develop responsive web applications that run on the number of devices. Similarly, large screen traffic is not declining, so you have to design for the large screen as well. That means you cannot only design for the web application to the smartphones, because most of the people are using smartphones these days. However, the large screen traffic is as as heavy as the low screen traffic in the web pages. It does not mean to be one size fits all. Uh, However, there are certain benefits of responsive web design. However, you must be very careful in the translation of such responsive design, that if you design one size, it will not definitely fit all the screen sizes. So you have to keep modifying your resources such as images, videos, and other contents, so that it will load better in the ranging websites, sorry, web devices. If you want to know more about the responsive websites, you can simply search on the Google, or you can see a seminar topic responsive web design from the Institute of Technology, Priyadarshini. Any question you can ask me in the question and answer session. Thank you very much.